This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social. Delighted to be joined here today by the IBF Super Lightweight Champion of the World. It's the Tartan Tornado, Josh Taylor. How you doing, Josh?
I'm all good. That sounds good, that. And the new. Yeah, it sounds good.
It does sound good. It's the second time I've interviewed you since you become world champion. First of them was about an hour after you won the title against Baranchyk. First and foremost, congratulations again. How does it feel to be world champion?
Yeah, good. You know, the goal achieved, the goal that I set out to achieve has been done now. You know, so now it's that's been years and years of dreaming and visualising and planning. And that's the big goal, and it's done now. So now it's I've had a good time to relax and enjoy the victory, and enjoy it with my friends and family and stuff. Went on holiday and stuff like that. Relaxed for a couple of weeks, and it's now setting the targets on new goals and bigger goals. Now it's on to this next one. We obviously progress, and then longer term goals, becoming undisputed and things like that. So yeah, setting new goals now. So yeah, good.
Let's just go back a little bit. I, like many people, saw your very funny Instagram that you posted when you were in Ibiza with your lovely partner Danielle, enjoying your time away. What have you been up to since? I understand you've been away to a few little bits and pieces. What have you done for your downtime since you won the world title?
Sort of just chilled out really. I took a couple of weeks off, and the week after the fight, straight after the fight, I went out on holiday to Ibiza with my girlfriend, my mate Craig and his girlfriend Jenna. So we were out there for 4 days, just chilled out, and then come back. And then I went over to the Isle of Man with my dad to the TT races and watched the bike racing for a week, and that was awesome. You know, we've always wanted to do that, so that was good. A bit of bike racing, it was a bit like Glastonbury Festival, but for motorbikes. So yeah, it was good, really good. And then got back to the gym after that.
Get recognised?
Yeah, a few times. Yeah, but most of the people are there for the bikes, so so you don't really. I'm not a name over there, not anybody over there, so it was nice just to blend in and chill out and get a few beers with my dad and watch some bike racing and a couple of my pals. So yeah, it was good.
You've spoken to me about kind of your bike racing and stuff in the past. How important is it for you to have something that's not boxing to kind of take your focus away from? Because I mean, particularly when you're in the series, it's like one thing after the other. Right, there was a little bit of a delay with the Baranchyk Martin fights, but still you're in it. You're constantly thinking about boxing. How important is it to have something to kind of take your focus away from boxing?
I think it's brilliant. You need that. You need another interest in life and another hobby or something to do. Just totally away from boxing. Even at the weekends, when I used to go home, and I'd go to the bike racing. A few of my pals race bikes, motocross and super bikes, and I just get away from boxing completely. And I don't even talk about boxing the full weekend. It's all about bikes and having a laugh with the guys that are there, talking about bikes and just having a banter with the lads, and just totally switching off. And you come back on the Monday and you feel ready to go and ready to attack the week or the training camp. So yeah, it's really good to get away and totally forget about boxing for a while and just be normal. Yeah.
With that being said, how many times have you watched the fight back, the Baranchyk fight?
Watched it back a couple of times now. Well, say probably about 10 times. Just to hear and the new, but no, I've watched it back a few times. At times really, really easy for me. And I could have kept it that way, but I chose not to. I chose to have a fight and chose to kind of go to war with him, and so it hit me a few times, and it was a bit stupid of me, but it was a good fight to watch. But I could have made it real easy for myself, just jabbed and moved, made him miss all night long. But I just felt that because he was a champion, I just wasn't doing enough. I felt like I was winning the rounds, but I felt the crowd going silent, by purely boxing, jabbing him, making him miss and getting out of the way and hitting him with my own shots. But I just felt that because he was a champion, and it was a semi-final, and that was my shot at having becoming world champion, I felt I needed to do a little bit more. So I then took the fight to him and took more risks than I kind of needed to. It could have been a real easy night for me, but I chose not to.
You've kind of shown that side of your game in various different stages of your career. The Ohara Davis fight stands out as a fight where you stood in the pocket and had great success in the pocket. You mentioned the crowd there. You make an interesting point. How aware are you when you're in the ring, particularly when you box in Glasgow? It's always a great atmosphere, great reception. There's always a lot of loud fans in there. How aware are you when it goes silent or when there's a big shot landed, and how does that affect you when you're in there?
Oh yeah, because the Scottish fans are so passionate and so loud, so vocal in everything you do. They're always loud, even when there's not much action happening. they're still loud and singing along and stuff like that. And it just went quiet for a little while, and I thought, oh, am I not doing enough here? I knew I was winning the fight. I knew I was jabbing and boxing and making a move, but it must have been a bit of a boring fight. I thought, I'm not doing enough here. So I started taking the fight to him and having a bit of more of a fight and having success at doing that as well.
I spoke to Anthony Yiggett last week, somebody who I know you boxed as an amateur, I know you've sparred with him as well. He said to me that he wasn't surprised that you beat Ivan Baranchyk, but he also said to me that he felt that Ivan Baranchyk would be a harder fight for you than Regis Prograis. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think he's probably right. I think Regis Prograis is a lot more skillful than Ivan Baranchyk. I don't think it will be anywhere near as a physical fight. It'll be more technical, and more boxing, and more thinking. That's what I think anyway. I've not seen Regis Prograis go to war or any of his fights be like that. You know, he's always been boxing people where he's the A side by far. You know, he's not boxed anybody anywhere near that's in my league, or anybody that's anywhere near like me. He can fight and box, got speed and got power. You know, so he's not boxed anybody like me, and it's just going to be a completely different fight and a shock for him when he gets in there as well. So I think it's going to be, I wouldn't say an easier fight, because he is a very good fighter. He's world champion, so he's not world champion for nothing. He's a good fighter, but I think it'll be a bit more of a technical fight, just not as physical as a Baranchyk fight.
I saw you two exchange pleasantries on social media. It's not a side we see too much of from you, certainly not publicly anyway. Just tell me a little bit about that. I mean, because he's somebody who we've caught up with him a couple of times in the last 6 weeks. He's somebody who's not shy of a word or two, and I saw a little bit of a back and forth, I think, on Twitter. I'm just sort of telling him we better be ready, because I'm going to slap him about basically. He's smaller than me. He's not as fast as me. He's not as strong as me, and I think I beat him in every department. So I was just saying to him we better be ready, because I'm going to smash his face in basically, and I feel like I will. I saw a little clip as well that was circulating about when you guys went for your shoot for the World Boxing Super Series. He said there and then that he thought it was going to be you two in the final. What were your thoughts? Were you immediately sizing him up from the get-go?
Yeah, I thought it would have been him and I in the final as well. Just because he's obviously a big name over America, or he's got a good reputation, a lot of hype going along around him. So yeah, I thought it would have been me and him. So I'm not surprised it's me and him in the final. But again, I'm super relaxed. I feel ready to go, and I can't wait to get in there and take his belt off him.
And you spoke earlier, and this is because I mean I've covered your career, certainly a lot of your career in the last couple of years, where the goal has always been world titles. You've now done that. I mean, you mentioned in the very first question here about kind of your goals going forward. Do you feel that winning the world title now has taken a little bit of pressure off? Do you feel like you've now got additional pressure as Scotland's, I think I'm right in saying that you're Scotland's only current world champion, and going, does that put the pressure on? Does it take a bit of pressure off? What's that like for you? No pressure. I've never felt any pressure, because the only pressure was on myself. My self-expectations, with that Postal fight, it was a world title eliminator, and it was I need to get to world. I need to win this fight to get to world, to prove that I'm world level. And I put a lot of pressure on myself before that fight. But in terms of expectation and stuff, I don't feel it. I don't feel it at all. I'm just doing what I do, and I believe in myself. And I've set these targets, and I'm ready to go for it. I feel totally relaxed, and I believe in myself 100%. So I don't feel any pressure at all. If there's any pressure, it's on my own behalf. It's not by expectation by anybody else, because I block all that out anyway. I don't listen to any. I don't listen to any hype or any belief my own hype. That old saying, don't believe the hype, like someone else across the pond. He believes his own hype, and he's in for a rude awakening. So I don't feel any pressure. You mentioned a Victor Postol fight. It's something that me and you will always kind of inevitably find ourselves talking about. I know it's a fight that you kind of look at as a real pivotal moment in your career, but I was just talking to Chris Billam-Smith, your stablemate, who's got a fight coming up with Richard Riakporhe, two unbeaten guys. Kind of reminds me, without a lot of we just spoke about hype, a lot of the stuff outside of the ring with you and Harry Davis. How important has it been for you throughout your career to have those tests? I mean, you had Dave Ryan early on in your career, the Ohio Davis fight, even Miguel Vasquez, who we saw in the ring with Ohio Davis not too long ago. How important has that been for you now you've become world champion and you can look back at those fights, your Postles, your Davis fight, Vasquez? How important have those bouts been to get you where you are today?
Oh, I think they've been really important. You know, I think they've been, they've been real key moments, and to get me to this point, because, you know, the Harry Davis fight was quite big profile. Everybody was talking about it. He was a big star. He was a big puncher. He was a favourite. You know, and everybody was talking about it. You know, and dealing with all the media and all the stuff online and things like that. You know, that was all learning curve. You know, and I take that now leading up to that world title fight, I was so relaxed, so comfortable, so at ease in front of the cameras, and you know, it was real learning curve, and I took it all in. Just, you know, and not just that, seeing things like George Groves and Carl Frampton dealing with the media and how they dealt with it, and you know, and things like watching them and learning how they deal with it. So yeah, it's been real good. I've had a real good start to my career, and I couldn't ask for a better start, to be honest.
All being well, and you come through against Regis Prograis. Actually, before we talk about what could potentially happen after, where do you want that fight to be? Now, there's a lot of talk about potentially having it over here in America. Are you bothered particularly about where that fight would be? I know you'd love it to end up at either the Hydro or Edinburgh Castle, for example. Wink, wink, World Boxing Super Series. Are you bothered about where it ends up?
I'm not bothered. You know, I wouldn't mind it being here. You know, obviously, I would love it to be here. In terms of, you know, if it's neutral, it's neutral. It's fine. It doesn't bother me. But I just think it makes more sense to go where the more tickets are getting sold. You know, he's going on about, you know, he sold $7,000 at $3 a ticket. So, but the $3 a ticket is the same price for his fight, and there's only about 50 people in the show. It doesn't sell a ticket, so it would make more sense for people to come here, because it'll sell out the arena, it'll make more money at the gate. You know, so, but you know, it can be anywhere. I'm really not fussed. I could whoop his ass anywhere. Yeah.
I haven't spoken to you since the night in Glasgow when you won the world title, which means I haven't spoken to you about who was on your undercard. Naoya Inoue against Manuel Rodriguez. I know you would have gone back and watched all 2 rounds of the fight, or round and a half of the fight. What did you make of it?
No, I actually haven't seen the full fight. No, I actually haven't seen it. I've watched back my highlights. I've actually not watched it. I've obviously seen the highlights of it. It just looked so explosive and destructive at the weight. It's very few and far between. You see guys that size flattening opponents and just walking through them. The Monster is a perfect nickname, you know. And it was good. I was kind of gutted because I didn't get a chance to really kind of catch up with him or speak to him or even see his fight. Obviously, never saw his fight because my fight was right after him. But I never got a chance to even get talking to him through the fight week. So that was a wee bit of a bummer. But you know, it was good to have that calibre boxer and that class of opponent coming to Glasgow and putting on a big show. So yeah, it was great.
I can't believe you haven't watched the fight. It's a round and a half, Josh. If you're on the toilet.
I saw the second round and he's, you know, splattered him, but you know, and a body shot as well. He put him down first with a body shot, and I thought that was the end of it, because when you saw, what was his name again? Rodriguez. Yeah, you saw him through fight week. He just looked really ill and just weight drained. You know, just so dry with the weight, tight the weight, and just thought body shots was going to kill him, and it did. The first one put him down with a body shot, and then that was it. Game, end of story. But no, it was class.
Sorry to interrupt. You talk about weight. How are you doing at the weight? You're a big 140 pounder. I know we've spoken in the past about potentially one day you moving up to 147, which, with respect to the 140 pound division, is probably where the more marquee names are and the big money fights are. You're still growing, you're still developing. How are you doing the weight? How were you last time?
I'm making the weight perfect, you know. Although there was that confusion with the weigh-in that time, that was the easiest I've ever made weight. You know, I was on point with my diet, on point with my nutrition, on point with my eating. You know, at times and when I was eating, you know, and going to my bed early, drinking, even just cutting out the shitty juice, like fizzy juice or like, you know, diluting juice and things like that. I was cutting it out and was having electrolytes and things like that. You know, I was on point for that there, and I made the weight the most comfortable I've ever done it. You know, I was on weight 10 days before, you know, and I was still strong, and I was still doing PBs in my strength and conditioning weights sessions, I was still lifting heavier than I've ever lifted when I was just about on the weight. I've never done that before, so I was the best I've ever done the weight. It was really frustrating that happened with the weigh-in. The guys, the way they handled it, it was just unprofessional. There was about 50 people on the stage. I was all rocking about. I was rocking about on the weight and off the weight, flickering. So I jumped off. He's announced my weight. I've jumped off and downed about half a gallon of bloody water. Well, say about half a kilo, 500 grams of water. And you know, oh, you're overweight. So I've jumped back on the scales, and obviously I'm overweight because I've just downed some water. So it was just really frustrating. And there's a go. I had 2 hours to go and take the weight off again. It took me 10 minutes. You know, so that shows you how hydrated I was and how easy I made the weight. So yeah, it was just really frustrating. And when we got the scales backstage, we went to go stand on them, and the level was off. One of the things was off by about that. And so it was sitting like that, the scales. But so it was just unprofessional the way they handled it. And it was frustrating because there was everybody saying, "Oh, is he struggling with weight and all that?" But that was the easiest I've ever done it, and the most comfortable and strongest I've felt at the weight. So yeah, there's your answer.
Yeah, it was quite a confusing time. I remember when it got announced, then everyone went, "Oh, he's made weight," and then he got off, and then we saw the kind of the hoo-ha afterwards. I mean, you mentioned it being frustrating. I mean, the eve of your first world title shot, World Boxing Super Series semi-final. What did you do to keep yourself calm? Because, as I say, I've been around you for your last, probably, I don't know, half a dozen camps. Certainly around the Postal fight, I'd imagine if something like that would have happened around then, you would have probably handled it a lot differently.
I was raging. I was raging at the officials. I was raging at his team. Everyone, you know, I was saying, "I'm going to fucking kill him" and all that, and I was making me real angry. You know, it took me 10 minutes. Then his team come through, and I'm going to fucking kill him tomorrow. So he's getting it. It just made me more determined to win that title. If anything, it made me more determined because it wasn't a struggle. It took me 10 minutes. Put a hoodie on and a trackie, and that was it. And shadow boxed and skipped for 10 minutes and job done. But I was raging, you know, and it just made me take it more out on him. I think it made me more determined to get the title. So yeah, it probably worked in my favour, to be honest.
Probably one of the reasons that you were standing in the pocket a little bit more. But one thing I wanted to speak to you about, living my life on Twitter as I do, I'm constantly seeing lately there's like a craze of pound for pound lists. UK top 10 pound for pound, US top 10 pound for pound. Your name started to appear an awful lot in the UK top pound for pound list. Generally, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure people will while they're watching this. Generally, you appear in kind of the top 4 or 5. What does that mean to you after, what, 16 fights in your career, world champion, and you're starting to be talked about as one of the best pound for pound fighters in Britain?
Yeah, it's nice, I suppose. Yeah, I don't really think about it. It doesn't mean that much to me, to be honest. I know I'm a good fighter. I know how good I can be. I'm not interested in being pound for pound or comparing myself to anybody else. I know I'm a good fighter. I know the other world champions are good fighters as well. So I don't want to compare myself to them. I'm just interested in doing my own thing. But you know, it is good and it is nice seeing that I'm getting recognised as a good fighter and what I'm doing, and people finally taking notice of what I've been saying for years, that I'm a good fighter, I'm world class, is now coming to fruition, and people are taking notice of it, and I'm getting noticed all the time now. Whereas I used to go under the radar all the time. I used to come up and go under the radar and get results, and people would be like shocked. Well, I've never been shocked at the results I've got. So yeah, it's good. It's really good.
How much more do you think there's still to come? You've reached kind of the pinnacle, really. Well, for a lot of people, it's the pinnacle of kind of professional boxing. You've become world champion. How much more do you think is still to come? I mean, by your own admission, you probably made the Baranchyk fight a little bit harder than you could have, so I'm sure you and Shane have identified things to work on. How much better do you think you can get?
There's loads more to come. There's loads more to come. I've never boxed at my best and out my skin, right up until this point. I've never ever boxed the best I can be. Before that last fight there, in the changing rooms, I felt really shit on the pads, and I didn't say nothing to Shane. I don't know if Shane's told you, but I couldn't hit the 1-2s properly. My jab was kind of off, sort of the timing of it, and the 1-2s was off, and I was thinking, fuck, like this is my big chance. I'm not here. I'm not at the races, and I've went out and I've been a bit, fuck, come on, try to fire myself up, and then in the fight itself, I was just, you know, switching off. At times really easy, but then at times taking more risks and having a bit of a fight and kind of being lazy with my defence. There's loads more to come. I reckon another 30%, 40% to come. You know, I've never ever boxed my absolute best as a professional yet. So you're going to see the best is yet to come for Josh Taylor. So yeah, that's I'm 100% sure of that.
You speak about that, and it's something again we've spoken about a lot in the past. Your kind of perfectionism, and you do, or have certainly in the past, allowed things to frustrate you and to get under your skin. And in the Postal fight, that didn't necessarily work in your favour. In the Baranchyk fight, potentially having those frustrations, you talk about the weigh-in and potentially before and having to rev yourself up, worked in your favour. Is it kind of something you think that you're going to have to manage throughout your career?
I think I have, to be honest, and I keep saying it, and I've said this in the last few interviews I've done with you as well. I think Postal taught me a lot. That camp for the Postal fight taught me a lot about myself. You know, because I was, like you said, a bit of a hothead and a bit ill-tempered sometimes, and you know, and perfectionist, needing to win every minute, every round. You know, if someone was on the bag throwing 10 punches, I throw 15, and things like that. Just that will to win at everything all the time. I've learned to sort of control that, take a step back and just chill out a little bit, and I think that you could tell it showed in the Martin performance and that performance there. Things like that happening with the weigh-in, and you know, that would have really got under my skin before if that was a Postal fight, that would have really got under my skin and annoyed me and it frustrated me as I've been thinking about it at night and all that, you know. So whereas now I'm more relaxed. I've been through that kind of adversity, as you say, and sort of had that experience now of that Postal fight in the camp and things not going my right way for me and adapting and changing. So I now know that I can do it, and it's not the end of the world if you're having a shit day, or you know, you're not sparring too great, or you know, it's practice. At the end of the day, you're not going to have 100 quality days in the gym at sparring. You're going to feel shit one day, you're going to feel tired one day, here and there. So yeah, I've relaxed a bit more. I'm more relaxed about it now. I'm taking some CBD stuff, you know, and it's fucking chilling me out. Yeah,
it's a free plug there for you for your CBD. Just 1 second. We've got
hemp. Vita hemp if you're listening. Yeah. Vita hemp if you're listening. That's the stuff.
Another free plug. I just spoke to Chris Billam-Smith, who spoke about Lawrence Okoli coming into the camp and having in-house sparring. Now, I know recently, or say in recent times, you've started to spar Luke Campbell here and there.
Yeah.
What's that like for you? I'm fascinated by the difference between in-house sparring and getting sparring partners coming in. What's the difference between that? Because I know I've watched you spar. You spar like you're fighting.
Yeah.
What's that like when you're sparring somebody from the same stable?
Well, almost pretty much the same, you know, because you've got to prepare each other for the fight, you know. So, like if you hit each other a good shot, you'll take a step back and let someone recover or recoup, or you know, take a wee bit of a step back. If you're not going in for the kill, whereas with sparring partners, you're bringing in. If you hurt them, you're going to jump on them because you're paying for them and things like that. You know, you're paying them to get work out of them, to try and do you in basically. But with Luke, you know, he's a friend of mine. Known him for years from the GB camp, the Olympics and stuff like that. So I'll be trying my best to sort of be sparring partner mentality, trying things out like that I think Loma Campbell will do. So I'll change my mentality that way, and I'm pretty sure he'd be the same with, just say, Regis Prograis. You know, he'll be trying to do things that Regis is going to try and do, things that he wouldn't normally do, and things that I wouldn't normally do as a fighter. You know, so we do that to try and bring each other on rather than go out and search and destroy. We help each other much more than going out to, you know, beat the guy up. You know, so it's more helping each other out. You know, I'll try things, and I don't think there's much more better people that's going to get to spar for Lomachenko than myself. You know, things I'll try things. And I try and emulate him anyway, and things of the pads and the bags and sparring. I do little things that I learn from him in sparring and in my fights. So I'll be trying that with Luke and trying to bring him on and get him ready for the fight.
How difficult a fight is that for Luke Campbell? A lot of people consider Vasyl Lomachenko to be the best fighter in the world. Yeah. How difficult an assignment is that for Luke Campbell?
It's a difficult fight, of course it is. But if there's anybody that can beat him, it's Luke Campbell. Because Luke's got the pedigree as well. If he's been there, he's got Olympic gold medal, Europeans, he's done all the amateur scene. He's done everything there is at the amateurs, you know, and he's had a great pro career as well. been over in America. He's seen all the American styles, and he's got great timing. You know, he's got great distance control, and he's got real pop for a lightweight. He's got real pop. He's not knockout puncher, but it's real snappy, and it's real. You know, it hurts. You know, it definitely hurts when it hits you. So he's got a great chance, and I think if there's anybody that can beat Loma Campbell, it is. He'll be good at cancelling what Lomachenko's going to do with the angles, with his feet work and his distance control, because he looks good at that as well. You know, he'll take a step back and move around. He's not going to stand there and just let Lomachenko do what he usually does in all his pro fights. All his opponents he's fought really have just stood there and let him whack away and do what he wants. Look him not do that. Look him move, and look him move with him and turn with him and cancel him out. So I think he's got a real good chance. I definitely think he's got a real good chance. Lomachenko is brilliant, but he's not unbeatable.
Okay, well, just finally, in the spirit of having lovely Manny, your dog, down by your feet, your favourite fighter, Manny Pacquiao, has got himself a fight coming up in a couple of weeks against Pacquiao-Thurman. Talk to me about the fight.
I've not really thought about it much, really, to be honest. I think Pacquiao should win it, but then also think because he's my hero, I want to see Pacquiao pack it in now. I think he should have probably hung the gloves up a few years ago. He's still a great fighter, still dangerous, but he's just not the same guy. So I'd like to see him pack it in after this fight. But I think he'll win. He'll beat Pacquiao-Thurman again with the speed and tenacity. But it's just not quite the same, which is crap to see for me. But you know, he'll win it. That's it. Team Pac-Man all the way.
Okay, well, Josh Taylor, the IBF Super Lightweight Champion of the world. Always a pleasure to catch up with you, my friend. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. I will catch up with you soon, no doubt.
No worries. See you soon.